All right. Hey, everybody. It's Jason Blaha here, just sitting here drinking my morning coffee, looking sexy as hell as usual. For those of you who say I don't look sexy as hell when I drink my coffee, nobody cares what you think. I didn't ask you. All right. Let's see what we get in here this morning. Getting started a little bit later. So this one may not run real long. Then I'm going to go get some arms done. Then I got a busy day. Pretty much, it could be like 10 hours of projects. So one of those days. Afternoon, coach. Well, it's morning for me. It's 8:20 in the morning for me, but probably afternoon for you, assuming you're in some Scandinavian country. So yeah, doing okay, man. Not actually. This is actually my second cup of coffee, so I'm a little more awake. I had some stuff to do. I had to sell a consultation to a former client. Uh, had to do. Actually, got a vlog ready that I'll put up here later, and I got to go train. Then I got some other projects to work on. Too for today, in addition to all my client stuff. Yeah, it's gonna be one of those days. So I'll still get lives in. We're gonna get a cardio in, and then we'll definitely get an evening live in. But looking decently veiny this morning. In spite of the low carbs. Actually, though, they don't make me less veiny. Do you like rollback dumbbell extensions? Me personally, no. I have clients who like them because they're easy on their elbows. I program them for some people. I personally tend to like to get shoulder extension into everything, just because I want my whole tricep to grow. I can't afford to focus on just the lateral head. All right, I can't afford that. So I tend to do more stretch position stuff. That's just one of the things. Like Louis prescribed dozens of different tricep exercises. Louis didn't just preach those. I mean, I get that you've seen in certain seminars, but you start looking at what the West Side guys did. They lived on triceps. Like they basically just hammered triceps from every angle. All right. There was like 20 to 30 different types of tricep exercises they did regularly. No, I don't think they can only be done with circular dumbbells. Yeah, it does. I mean, in theory, it could. But I guess that depends on what you're doing with them and how you're holding them. You could hold them a little bit different to fix that. But most of my clients who do those type of extensions are doing them in a gym, right? So they're going to be possibly smaller, not bigger, 10-pound plates on the end and so on and so forth. I mean, you'll see in the vlog today, actually, it's funny you asked that. The vlog I just recorded for Matthias, he's pretty much what he's doing after his press downs because they're easy on his elbows, for him. Have you ever programmed tape presses? No. And for those who don't know, tape presses are like this, right? I'm very familiar with it. I just don't generally program them. See, if someone will tell me, that's why you don't have a bunch of 500 plus pound benchers, right? The lack of the tape press. That's what's causing it. Are they just not? No, I just don't like them. I have an idea for your channel. Lars, that could get my channel terminated. So, Lars, like if people really hated me, they could pretend to be fans, and a bunch of them can coordinate and send me stuff and then copyright strike me for all of it. I don't put anything on my channel. I don't even do reaction videos for a reason. So the only stuff I put on my channel is stuff my direct paying clients who I trust and have a business relationship with have sent me. Make sense? It's not worth the risk of getting my channel terminated for the rest of my life. Taking that risk of saying, hey, I might get 1,000 views and then lose my channel. No. But do they stop them under their own power? Well, you stop them. Dude, those rolling extensions are into your shoulder, dude. What are you talking about? And if you're on a bench, why would they hit the surface of the bench? You lay in a way to where they miss the bench. Jefferson, you need to have some practical solutions here. Let's think about some practical solutions. How are you laying on the bench if the dumbbells are hitting them? Just lay further up. This completely fixes your entire problem. Have your head off the bench. Have your traps at the edge of the bench. Ta-da! Problem solved. Practical coaching solutions. It's because I and a lot of my clients tend to do them rotating way back behind our head, and we realized a long time ago having that bench in the way is a problem. If we're going to go all the way back, you can't have a bench there. Traps have to be off the edge of the bench. And it's not a problem unless you're using, 80-pound dumbbells in each hand. And if you are, then you're a bad man. No, they should be that close to your ears. Yeah, put in AirPods. Everybody has AirPods today, man. They fit inside your ear. That's how it works, homie. I got chili dice disease. I don't know what that means, dude. But yeah, Jefferson, bro, get some AirPods. Or like you said, take them out. There's going to be lists for stuff gets in the way. AirPods have no bass like the Skull Candy Ego Crushers. Yeah. Yeah. I just mess with the Apple stuff because I've never used anything but an Apple phone. I get people who ask me, I'm like, why don't you try other stuff? Because then I got to learn it. My first phone was an iPhone because all my friends had iPhones. And they're like, you should just get the iPhone. And I'm like, oh, and it was $10 cheaper per month when I went through my carrier for my first one on top of it. I'm like, so all my friends have iPhones, and it's $10 less a month for this first package to get an iPhone. So I guess I'm going to get an iPhone. And I've just never switched. I've never had a problem with iPhone. Hey, Shadow. That's whatever makes you happy, dude. That's your thing. Got drunk off brass, monkey. Beastie Boys song. Hopefully everyone does it. My God, I'm old. Do you think there's any unique benefits doing both pause and stretch, reflex, rep work, or bench, for example? No, I think I wouldn't do the stretch stuff unless you're doing speed work. I mean, if you're doing speed work, especially against bands and stuff, it makes sense. I'm 48, Shadow. Generally benching, I like pausing. I think pausing is going to give you a lot more. No, Lars, just because apparently there was some communication differences at the time as far as the way the text worked. Plus the ability to, to use the FaceTimes and stuff. What do you think about some scientists saying in the first hour of waking, hey, Matt, I've literally never heard that before in my life. And if it's only some scientists, then we should probably ignore it. Like if you get into a field of research and some scientists say something and they comprise 10%, they're probably quacks. Huberman's kind of pretty much anything that a meta-analysis. So this is my interpretation of Huberman. I know very, very, very little about the man, other than every time a meta-analysis comes out saying something doesn't work in the human body, he backs it up. So he's like an anti-science guy as far as I can tell. Like literally, anytime a meta-analysis comes in anything fitness related, he goes that jumps up and says the thing works that the meta-analysis says doesn't work. He's done it like 12 times now. That's my interpretation of Huberman, so I don't understand the appeal. So it's like, that's how you know what Huberman's going to support. You'll look at meta-analysis. Meta-analysis says good, he's going to say bad. If meta-analysis says bad, he's going to say good. He's always opposite. And I could be wrong. That could be my strange interpretation of him, but that is pretty much how I interpret the guy and the little bit I know about him. He's against meta-analysis. He thinks meta-analysis are all wrong. So I think that sums it up. I mean, the guy supports cold plunges. I mean, what? He's clearly not an honest scientist if he's supporting cold plunges and so on and so forth. They don't do anything for all these benefits, and they reduce muscle growth. This is what studies show. This is what meta-analysis says. So you can't even appeal to authority if someone says, well, he's got whatever degree. Yeah, but he's disagreeing with all the science. So at that point, I don't think the degree counts for much. So unless we're going to be a conspiracy theorist and say that all scientists are wrong and all meta-analysis is a conspiracy theory by the global elite aliens to make the entire human race unhealthy. My girlfriend cheated on me. Any advice? You probably dump her, dude. I mean, that's kind of how it works. She's pulling hoe stuff, and she's for the streets. All right. Unless you're into that. I mean, if that's your kink, then I mean, by all means, keep her around. I'm not judging, dude. I don't kink shame. Although I don't, man, I don't want to talk about my own personal life, but I feel you, dude. I feel you. My last breakup went really, really, really bad. It's the reason I stay single. At the moment, do you take pre-workout in the morning? I don't take pre-workouts at all. I'm anti-pre-workout, by the way, in case you didn't know that. And that's okay. Maybe you didn't. Huberman, Breca, et cetera, they're all, yeah, Breca's a complete quack. Just influencers at heart. They pander to the biohacking subculture who are willing to spend money on supplements. Exactly. I've been dirty bulking a little, still not fat, but clearly stronger, feel a lot better. I've had fried chicken for breakfast. Up to you. I don't advocate that. Why does pausing on the bench give more benefits with the stretch reflex? Better for incline curl. Hey, Jefferson, think about it from a practical perspective. Does the bench put you into a stretch position? With a normal barbell? The answer is no. Maybe with a Jefferson, like one of the McDonald's bars, you might, in which case it makes sense, right? You might be good to definitely get those, especially if you can't touch your chest, right? That makes some sense. So you have to look at the movement and determine, does the movement itself offer a significant stretch reflex to where you're hanging into a stretch, right? That's what you were looking at. Is it pronounced enough to be a better training stimulus than a pause at the bottom? And some of them we can debate it, but we could also say, would I get more muscle if I just check my ego? Like, say, for example, pull-ups. We could make the case for the pull-up and the stretch reflex. Think about the movement. But are we then doing it for our ego, or is there something to be said about just making it harder by pausing at the bottom? More time spent in that lengthened position. We could get into a lot of debates. But I think the incline curl is one of those that it definitely lends itself better to a stretch reflex. I don't think most exercises do, to be honest. Thoughts on injectable GH? I've never heard of this. There are better peptides for collagen synthesis. Why don't you just do growth hormone like a normal person? Any general advice for long-term back issues? No, I need to know what's going on with your back. I would just say default and get a reverse hyper. That is definitely useful for anyone with any sort of history of back issues, right? Reverse hyperextension. That is the way. And this is a small turnout this morning. Oh, there we go. Popped up a little bit. If you guys could also hit some likes, it'll get more people in here. It'll hit the algorithm. And please follow me on the Facebook page. So those of you, if you don't follow me on the Facebook page yet, please follow me there and go down the road liking my stuff. In general, you're half 100. Appreciate it, Shadow. Yeah, I'm 48, homie. There we go. Likes are ticking up. And also, you guys follow me on Facebook. I appreciate it. And toss me a few likes. All right. Let's get back over to what else we're talking about. So exercise use terminal range of motion is purely due to the nature of the joint capsule and uses stretch reflex exercise terminal range of motion. Yeah. Jefferson, that's definitely. And I'm not saying to always use a stretch reflex with things like that, but it can be useful, yes. But yeah, if an exercise is limited by something other than the joint, then a stretch reflex is probably not really going to work. The reason it can work on speed benching has to do with things like the bands, because you're against heavy band tension, for example. It's a completely different beast. And we can make the case with chains too, because you're unloaded at the bottom anyway, so tension is reduced, so you may not get as much out of it. Because again, it's just about developing speed, strength, and rate of force production anyways. But if we're talking normal free weights, moderately heavy, and we're not training compensatory acceleration specifically, it makes sense to just pause your bench. Just pause it, dude. You're going to get stronger. You're going to have more control. You're going to have more power. Right? More power. What's your preference? I don't, dude. I'll drink any coffee. I'm a coffee addict. I mean, I like good coffees, but I'm just as content to do Folgers or whatever. To use the HEB, I actually have some Creole stuff, different ones I buy. It's not the HEB one. I need to look at what it is. No, it's a specific like New Orleans rub. It's not that expensive, but it's like a Creole one. So it's like a Creole seasoning on those drumsticks, and it's pretty spicy. You ever thought about dangling plates or kettlebells at the crazy bell training? I'd mess with that before once. I don't know, man. I feel like it's a pec tear waiting to happen. I've done it before on camera, like years ago, over like 11, 12 years ago. I messed with it some on camera, if you recall, to where I hung some bands and I hung a couple of 10-pound plates off the bands for the benching, right? I feel like I don't really need that though. I think for me, just for chest, it's just going to be bench, incline, and pullovers for a bit. How to fix knee cave on squat, get stronger glutes, learn how to get tight, learn how to externally rotate your knees. So pro tip, get the toes out of hair more, spread the floor with your feet on the way back up on the concentric rep. All right, so you open those hips up, and then when your knees go to cave just a hair coming out of the bottom, actively spread the floor with your feet. Drive them out and drive that chest up. All right. So you notice that 500 squat I did yesterday, not really knee cave happening, right? But I would also advocate maybe make sure your glutes are not a weak link for you too. I mean, and if there's something to be said for using knee valgus as an advanced technique on a max squat for some lifters, but it doesn't sound like that's what you're experiencing. Thoughts on kettlebells for conditioning? I think kettlebell swings can be a great conditioning tool. I used to do them. I've done them on camera before. I'm just mostly doing the weight vest walks for the convenience of it. It's a convenience to do weight vest walks for my GPP with a 50-pound vest. But I like kettlebell swings. Why do you think Lee was big into hammer curls opposed? Because of building the brachialis and radial brachialis. Because if you think about what's going to give you more pop out of the bottom of the bench, and he didn't care about biceps directly. Yep. Because he just didn't care about his guys looking pretty. Right? They're not trying to get them guns like Mount Bicephalus here. Oh, Mount Bicephalus, which is why I'm having an arm day today. My arms are my worst body part. So right now my arms are getting their own day every week. So yeah, I am going to do triceps and biceps both today, even though they both got some sets on the chest day and the back day. They need their own day every week. I got to get my arms up. Right, because otherwise, I mean, I'm just too big overall for these arms. Got to get bigger guns. Are hammer curls more effective than crossbody? No, dude, you don't have to do crossbody. Why would you think that biomechanically? What are you trying to work with it? It's not going to affect all the muscles of the elbow, because that's why we're hammer curling. Right? Have you? No, Shadow, I have not, in fact, been in the military at all. All right, I'm probably not going to run this one a lot longer. I need to get a lot of people claiming 16 to 8, 17 to 18 inch arms when they're only 15 to 16. It's pretty common. Crossbody is easier. It's why it makes me suspect that it would be effective at keeping it in front. I don't know that it's easier. You're going to get a little better stretch, I think, down below. My arms are, I measured them again the other day. They're just a hair over 16. That's cold. I don't care pumped. I don't ever check them. Because I double checked them because I did them on camera the other day. And then I checked them again yesterday or the day before just to see, just sitting here. And it was just a hair higher than 16, like 16 and a tenth or something. So I need to get them. I need another inch on my arms, honestly. Do you like Thai food? Yeah, Thai food's good. Like Thai food, Thai women, it's all good. What do you think is generally? I don't think it's relative. So, no, I don't. I'm not interested in trend, dude. I suppose it's all relative, Thunderlord. Like a lot of guys are like, your arms aren't big, but because I have 16 inch arms at 220 pounds. That's a problem. So I'm 100 kg. You know, that's the problem. I'm too big for my arms. But in public, I get compliments on my arms, so it's kind of funny. The average person doesn't know that I'm not properly proportioned for bodybuilding. They're clueless. I was cursed with long arms, so I think you'd need 15s for my height. I'm the same height as you, assuming you're 5'9". This is a topic I and friends of mine laugh about a lot. Any remedies for golfers' elbow? Yeah, you need to change the way you curl. Is it possible for one head of a muscle to contract, but for another to be relaxed? No, it's not going to be relaxed. There could be some active insufficiency, but it's not going to be relaxed. No. I have no idea what's a good price for a used cambered bar, dude. I have 18 inch arms at 220 at 6'1". Yeah. See, that's going to be a lot more proportionate. They probably look massive. Do girls always compliment? No, girls don't always compliment the physique. There are more than sufficient numbers of times when I walk out my door without a single compliment. Any difference on doing lateral raises behind or in front of you? Why would you? Okay. It is physically impossible to do a lateral raise behind you. That's no longer a lateral raise. It's true the camera usually is not flattering. I tried to run to film my training the other day. I look like a crack at it. I'm bigger than most of my friends. Yeah. So the long head gets worked during a bench press, but not hard enough to provide. If we go off the EMG data, it depends on how heavy you're going, actually. So the long head does get some stimulation when we start hitting above 90% and up. But how many total reps are you going to do at 90% and up? Not enough to get a whole lot of growth. Makes sense? Because you're talking a 3-rep max or heavier. How much work are you going to do with your 3-rep max or heavier? I mean, even a 3x3, you're going to need 10 minutes between sets. That's going to be 30 minutes for 9 reps. That's a lot of work, and that long head is not getting huge amounts of stimulus. Shadow, I'm shirtless outside a lot, actually, because I do weight vest walks. And yes, the neighbors notice. And yes, I get compliments in the neighborhood group. It's funny. So the long head gets work during a bench press, but not hard enough. Yeah. Because I don't have room and I've got other stuff going on. I don't like the home cable stations. The cheap ones that people attach to racks feel almost worthless to me. Thunderlord is what illegal? No, I've never tried melatonin 10. I've never played any of the Grand Theft Autos. Yeah, I think melatonin 10 is legal. It's a peptide. Hey, I just started your Ice Cream Fitness 2.0 last week, and I found it really fun. I never took training seriously, and this can be a spark for me to start. Awesome. Keep me in the loop. Come back in the chats and let us know how it goes for you. All right. I wrote it to be a very beginner-friendly routine, and it's easy on recovery. So the 1.0 is a little bit much for a lot of people. Would you date? These days, probably not. Not date. I mean, are you talking? Okay, how are you defining dating? Because dating is not. This is my friends and I. We talk about this. I have friends I date, but we're not couples. Does that make sense? So we all understand this. We're adults. Dating someone means that you're not a couple. You're not exclusive. It means you go out and you spend time together, you have dinner, maybe have sex. But there is no agreement of any relationship of any type. Okay. So, I don't know. 25 is really young. I definitely wouldn't be in a relationship with her. It's just too large of an age gap. I mean, you're talking, dude, you start talking 20 plus years, you have nothing in common. And I get it, you're like, but wouldn't she be maybe prettier? It's like, yeah, but there's women who are pretty in their 40s. I know plenty of 42 and 43-year-old women who are attractive, personally, like I know in person. So, you have a little more in common with them. It's again, Shadow. It's the issue of lack of common ground, lack of experience in life. What are you going to talk about? I mean, I get what you're going to do in the bedroom, but what are you going to talk about? I mean, you're not going to have sex for 12 hours a day. See the issue here? So that would be my thing, Shadow. My answer to that would be, what are you even going to, what sort of relationship are you even going to have with someone who's that much younger than you? Them being legal at 25, obviously not a factor, but are you really going to have a real relationship? Come on. Not really. So everyone junior, if you just ask about why flowers, no, that's not good, dude. You need to fix that. No, dude, just because you are in your 50s, you should still be knocking it out 3 times a week. All right. That's like grounds for marriage is pretty much over. you start going more than a week without sex, your marriage is over. Like there's no point. Like, you're not really together. You're a roommate. You're in a business contract. I don't know, Jefferson, because they're asking and I'm waking up. We stick to more training stuff later. So yeah, good point, Jefferson. I'm going to wind this down in a minute, but if we got a couple more training questions. Gio Marco, I don't know that they're even that good for press downs. If you mess with some of those cheek right, the thing, the way it swings, it's just an inconsistent. It feels like a jerky strength curve. I'd rather just use a dumbbell at that point. Send a shampoo bottle to NH. He's not going to use it. He's against hygiene. He believes in like having the natural oils in your hair for 6 months straight and not washing them out. You know. Wolverine. What Wolverine? Wolverine. Try the Wolverine stack. TB 500 BBC. Jefferson, again, I'm full natty bra, but setting that aside, why are you messing with those things in this current economy, in this current black market and gray market? Here'd be my question. Do you really think those things are going to have superior collagen synthesis to growth hormone? Right? Do you think they really are? I don't think that they do. And growth hormone in this era is absurdly cheap. The Chinese flooded the market a few years ago with enormous numbers of high quality generics. Like growth hormone is not expensive anymore. Because again, I mean, if you have extra money to throw away, sure, but from a benefit to your money, like per dollar you spent, growth hormone is no longer expensive. That's why all these peptides got popular to begin with. They wanted the benefits of growth hormone, but people didn't want to drop $1,000 a month on it. In this environment, what people were paying $1,000 for is $100 now. Are you sure that it's superior for sight healing? I think it's subject to debate. The BPC, maybe. But we also beg the question of why are you guys getting hurt to begin with? Why are we getting these injuries from lifting? I'm saying that as a guy who you watch me, doing 500-pound squats at almost 50 with no knee sleeves. You watch me do rep work with 550 on the deadlifts. Do you see me complaining about my joints or my tendons at all? And I'm not on any peptides of any type these days. So the question I would ask is, what's going on with your training? What's going on with your diet? Yeah, I mean, there's some potential, but I am not convinced they're superior to growth hormone for it. Mattis, here's a training question. I like doing dips assisted because I'm not strong enough. Can I incorporate? No, I think you need to stick to the program as written. Mattia, you're still a noob. I mean, you can't even do body weight dips yet. We're a noob. Don't write your own program. Trust me on this. Alex, you're not 6 big on camera because the cameras don't make you short. You see them real life. Yeah, I would dwarf him. I already know this. Is it possible to pharmaceutically induce muscle hypertrophy locally? Hypothetically, Marcinio, there have been some things that were found to do it, but the side effects were not worth it. Stuff like, I know that there was some stuff done with like PGF2A and some bodybuilders to try to mess with it, and it can apparently do that, but the side effects were excessive. Like they were unbearably excessive. I think the most I'd ever heard of was a guy managing to use it for 30 days before he couldn't take it anymore, and he couldn't handle it. I think that's been about the record I've ever heard of, and then people just quit trying. mainly because of the massive diarrhea that you get after the injection for like an hour straight. I guess I'm trying myself out, and it's instant. Like a lot of guys are like, you just go ahead and pin it while you're on the toilet because you might only have 30 seconds to 5 minutes before you just shit automatically, and you have no ability to stop it. So they were just pinning it while on the toilet already. I guess I'll try myself to find out. Yeah, you can try that out, Jefferson. Jefferson, I wonder if the sternum is even 100% ossified in younger novice trainees. Maybe. I mean, we've seen people crack their sternum on dips, weighted dips. It's happened many times. Arsenio IGF this used locally supposed to. Yeah, it supposedly works. Again, you start messing with IGF-1 variants, we're taking a lot of risks. Really, my concern is cancer, honestly. You guys are risking giving yourself cancer with any form of IGF variant. My opinion. And it comes back to my other point. If guys are going to be enhanced and you can't get as big as you were trying to get on 2 grams of testosterone a week plus a little growth hormone, you need to seriously question what your goals are, to where you need to start going to these even riskier drugs to your stack. There's a point where you got to go ask yourself, what are you really trying to do? Like, why are you trying to get that big? Right? Because even in my case, how big would I get if I did what I just said? I'd be a hell of a lot bigger. All right. 210 strict press. 220 by 10 incline, good for a natty. Dude, that's real solid. Yeah, 100 kilo times 10 incline for a natty is legit. If IGF-1 is jacked up during puberty, why aren't we seeing? Because it's not the same. Jefferson, I don't know any kids in puberty who are pinning IGF-1. Do you? IGF-1 elevated is normally a good thing. Like, that's why we eat a lot of protein, one of the reasons we lift weights. But we're talking about using super physiological amounts. And especially some of these variants, especially stuff like the RL3. We're getting into some risky areas at this point. I would say maybe just stick with conventional androgens if you want to get really big. And I get why people use these things, because they're like, well, 230 shredded just isn't big enough. Okay. They're like, I need to be 270 with deep abs. Okay, I get it, but you need to ask yourself, what are you trying to get out of that? Like, why is this goal important to you? Because it's going to come at a price. You guys understand where I'm coming from with that? Again, when we start adding stuff like that, that's because 2 grams of test and a little growth hormone is not getting you big enough. You're like, man, I'm only 230 with a 6-pack. I'm only 235 with a 6-pack. This just isn't cutting it. That's why people add stuff like that. Now, you see a guy who's 190 pounds adding IGF-1, I'm like, you're just lazy. Like, you must not be training or eating. That's your problem. It's not the drugs. Because if you're blasting 2 grams of test and you're 190 pounds. So I don't know why smaller guys are even messing with that stuff at all, any of it. I don't get it. All right. So we're got a few people in here, though. I need to wind it down. It's 9 o'clock. I got to get some training done, guys. I got to hit them arms, and I got some projects to do. Love all you guys and gals. Give you guys a forearm shot before we go, and I'll talk to you next time.